Kentucky gold hunter. People have told me, you know, there's no gold in Kentucky, don't try. Um, it's not worth it. And a lot of that is sort of true, but there is gold in Kentucky, and if you look near the Ohio River, that's where you're going to kind of find it. That Ohio River was actually formed from the melt of the glaciers in the pre-Illinoisan and the Wisconsin era. So basically, what I've done is I've gone and played in some till, some glacial till in a local creek, and I have brought back 2 buckets of material. You can see, and these 2 buckets of material, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get these classified down to the size of the gold that we're going to find, because the gold that we find is flour gold or glacial gold. This flour gold is basically shaped like a cornflake, okay? Whereas the black sand that it's riding with in the creek is shaped like a cannonball. Now the gold is heavier, it has a higher specific gravity than the cannonball shaped black sand. But the thing is that it's going to surf in the water. That's the best way that I can think to put it. The black sand being shaped like a cannonball, that's more hydrodynamic or aerodynamic. And basically, you know, the gold is going to settle with the black sand. So typically with glacial gold, you don't have to dig a hole. You mainly have to take maybe the first 2-3 inches of soil, of, you know, cobbles, rock, whatever you got, wash that off, because down is not going to be where the gold is if you're talking about glacial gold. Now, one way that I've thought about presenting this glacial gold at the Ohio River is, I don't know if you've ever been to a fair, and they have at the fair they have this the quarters game, where you put a quarter in and your quarter slides down, and maybe it'll knock a few quarters off the edge because there's this this barrier that keeps moving. Well, that's kind of like what the glaciers did. So basically your glaciers, they move up and then they recede, and they come in and they recede. And every time that they do that, they're depositing material, and they're creating valleys with the melt, and they're creating moraines or hills made out of this glacial material. So after years and years, what happens is that they wind up make sure they wind up after years and years, what happens is it winds up depositing a lot of that really pounded down material. So we've got a lot of black sand around the Ohio River. The Great Lakes also have a lot of black sand. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to get this material down to a size where it's all pretty uniform. And then we're going to use the miner's wheel here, and we're going to extract whatever gold is in these 2 buckets. Now, I can already assure you it's not going to be much gold, and it's going to be very fine. However, it will be very pure, because the finer the gold is and the more it's been crushed and released from its host rock, the more pure the gold is. Like a gold nugget, that stuff, it may be worth more as a specimen, but a gold nugget is not pure. If you wanted to transform that nugget into a piece of pure gold, you would have to put it through a refining process and get rid of all the other base metals that are in there. So the gold that we're looking for is going to be very, very small, very, very flat. And that is the key to all of this. That's why I have made a machine to actually deal with this if you look at the other videos that I have on YouTube here. But today, what we're going to do, this is a finishing machine that I have. This is the spiral gold wheel, and it's a miner's wheel, and basically it does the panning for you, okay, so that you don't have to go through all that. However, you still have to classify everything, and that is the holdup with any gold in the Midwest. We're not finding nuggets out here. You know, you might find a picker a couple times in your life if you do this as a constant hobby, but typically you're not going to find much in the way of larger gold. So we have to focus on the finer stuff. So classification is very important. The reason it's very important is because we have to get all of our material to be the same size. This is all sand, right? Very fine sand. And the reason we have to get it down to this is because, let's say that you have a sluice box and it's in a river, and you just walk up and you just want to shovel right into your sluice box. Well, for nuggets that might be okay, maybe for pickers, but the fact of the matter is with glacial gold, you're just going to kick everything out in your tailings, because the big rocks create eddies that form around them while they flow down through your box. Not to mention clay and other things that can interfere with the process of extracting the gold. So what I'm going to do today is I've taken this soil from a creek in northern Kentucky. I hauled it up 2 flights of stairs to show you guys, and these weigh about 70 pounds a piece. They are heavy. There's a lot of black sand in these, but I want to show you guys on this channel that there is gold in Kentucky, especially around the Ohio River. And actually, I believe that Thomas Massey found some gold. I believe that's his name, Thomas Massey. But he found some gold down in Kentucky. I believe there is lode gold in Kentucky, but it's just got so much overburden on it. Kentucky used to be an inland sea. There were glaciers all around, and it, you know, at one point there's tons of fossils in Kentucky, but Indiana and Ohio are so flat, mostly flat, because the glaciers. They mowed down all the mountains from up in Canada and Ontario all the way down here, and they pushed all this material down. So in this glacial till, we do have gold, and if you run the till itself, if you just went and dug in the side of a glacial moraine, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to ever make any money off that, no matter what equipment you have. The reason for that is because the gold isn't that dense there. However, over years and every spring, actually, when the snow thaws, which is what's happening now, people can go out into the creeks and the rivers and, you know, use a pan, and you can find gold. You know, you're not going to make any money doing it. There's lots of people, there's internet channels that go hunting for that glacial gold. Flower Gold Wizards is a wonderful channel that I love, and he's out in Wisconsin, and he finds some good glacial gold out there. He's further north, but you know, the whole point is that you got to find out where it collects in the rivers and the streams when the rains come in the springtime and throughout the year, where it'll concentrate naturally. So I'm going to show you how this spiral wheel works right now. So basically, I'm going to put the gold in. This is Ziggy. He's my dog. Say hi, Ziggy. But this is the miner's wheel here, and basically the way that this works is I put material in on this side, and it churns around in here and is brought up. This wheel turns and it's brought up into here, and then it falls into the hole, and I'm going to collect black sand as well as gold. But after it falls into the hole, it comes back here and collects in this cup. Okay, and that's basically it. It does the panning for you. You don't have to be stooping over a pan And it does work without classification, but I prefer to classify. So just a small example of kind of how this works. Try to get you guys up a little higher here.
Now, this is just to give you a good idea as to how much effort it takes to classify at this point in the game. This is the old style. We're using buckets, we're using classifiers, we're shaking, we're bending over to accomplish all of this. You only get so many bend overs, right? As you get older, you'll understand more. I'm 45 now. I'll be 45. I'll be 46 this year, and I've only got so many of those left. But I'm still young. However, that's what the classifier is actually. The Patriot classifier is designed to do. Make it all seamless, so that we don't have to do this hunching over buckets and tossing dirt out. You can keep your shovel in your hand all the time, and the shovel is actually the most important tool that we have. So if you're constantly using the shovel and you don't have to switch back and forth from classification to running material, and then back to classification, and then back to running material, then you're going to wind up with better results, because you're spending more time actually processing. So that's what the Patriot is all about. And I've included this particular. It was a wonderful day. Very cold, obviously. The creek is still frozen over. I was lucky to have this one spot to be able to dig in. We've had some really crazy winter weather around northern Kentucky area and across the nation really this year. But as the gold sits in the hills and the snow melts, it releases that gold into the streams and the rivers, and that's what gives us this flood gold that we're looking for. So I just wanted to include this this particular type of work into this opener video for the channel, because it's really they say that I've heard that glacial gold is the hardest money you will ever make, and with the old equipment, that's obviously true. With the old equipment and the old ways that our country used to use, we used to go pick nuggets up off the ground, and those days are over. But the mining could still continue if we had the correct equipment. So we need to get away from this buckets and screen classifiers and into a better system. And if you watch my prior videos on the Patriot classifier extractor, you'll understand a bit more of what I'm trying to accomplish here on this channel. And now we get to do the farmer's walk. That's one of the most difficult parts of this particular hobby. When you have 2 buckets full of black sand material, here is not even totally black sand, but these 2 buckets are heavy, and the snow and everything is slick. So you could do all this work and come up with quite a mess. It really was a wonderful day to get out, even in, it was like 30 degrees, it's starting to melt. But I encourage you, don't don't worry so much about the weather. Unless you have lightning, you can do this. And it's actually, you know, it's actually, it's really good for the soul. All right, we'll do a bit of a reveal here. See what we came up with. Difficult with one hand. All right, starting to show up right there. This black sand is difficult. As you can see, it's showing up. I'm going to finish this off and get back with you. All right, you can count them if you want. I never count. Generally, maybe there's like 30 pieces, something like that. That is glacial gold. Very, very, very flat and very small, but it's there. So what have we learned? The gold is small, the gold is there. This is northern Kentucky. If you look in Ohio, Indiana, you find some really, really high concentrations of this as well. I think that the Ohio River may be a place where you would find a whole lot of this particular type of gold. However, the Ohio River is a very muddy river, and you would have to punch through a whole lot of overburden before you were able to actually get to the gold. If you found a clay layer, you know, I'm sure that you could do well. But the Ohio River is kind of scary. Heard of the size of the fish in there? So yeah, that'll be it for today. Again, my name's Phil. I'm the Kentucky Gold Hunter, and you can look forward to more videos on this channel. Videos of the Patriot, the classifying system that I have made and am currently using in order to speed up this whole process. The Patriot classifier is going to be a game changer for anyone who's interested in glacial gold, because as we know, like, classification is the key. If you put a big old rock, or if you direct shovel into a sluice box, what you're going to get is a lot of kicking out of your gold, because those big rocks, as they tumble through there, they create their own currents. So have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. Please don't forget, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and share with friends that may be interested in getting into this wonderful hobby this next season. Have a good day.